You are listening to Thinkology's They Did It Their Way with me, Nicole Herbert Dean. Thinkology is a brand of books that teach language through stories. We also do business to business, meaning we create books that publish your brand and talk about you with you named as author. These books are published on Amazon and you can also find them on Google Play. Our ebooks are in Kindle format as well as we do have paperbacks. You can find us on Facebook at Thinkology Media as well as on Instagram under the word Thinkology. I do also sometimes foray into TikTok and Twitter under the same name, Thinkology. So listen to our podcast, which consists of interesting stories about interesting people. You are listening to Thinkology with Nicole Herbert Dean. They Did It Their Way is a podcast about people who are like you and me, but who have done extraordinary things with their lives. In this episode, I will be talking with a school friend of mine, someone who went with me to St. Joseph's Convent in Bandra, Mumbai. And in her words, she's independent, open-minded, curious, and adventurous. She loves her own company as much as she loves being with people. The unknown does not faze me, and believe me, when she says that, I believe her, including strangers and strange things. Now, when you hear the podcast, you will understand just how she's not afraid. So she goes on to say, it simply arouses that certain desire to get to know people. I'm a lifelong learner, multi-potentialite, and a huge murder mystery buff because it's all about people and the human proclivity to love and hate in equal measure. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost is her favorite poem. No surprise there given, she says, what I have shared above. And she says again, I am once again at that fork in the road in my life. So let's listen in to Michelle. Oh, this is so great. So nice to hear from you. I mean, even though we met a couple short weeks ago, but I like to start it from the beginning just to give our listeners a perspective of,
Absolutely,
where we first met and how long we've known each other. So refresh my memory. 9th grade or 10th grade, St. Joseph's?
I would say ninth grade because that's
Ninth
when I
grade.
joined St. Joseph's. Yeah,
Right. And I clearly remember you were the new girl in class.
absolutely. You mean that new girl that only spent her time crying?
I know. I couldn't believe it. I came back. I was thinking about what you said the other day, and I was like, I had no idea you did not like being there.
No,
How sad.
and it had nothing to do with school or my classmates or the teachers or anything like that. It
Right.
it had everything to do with the fact that I hadn't wanted to come away from boarding school into day school all over again.
Now, which boarding school did you go to?
It was a boarding school in Pune, one of the hill stations in
Hmm.
Maharashtra, and it was called St. Mary's High School.
Oh, you must have had a ball there. I mean,
Fabulous, fabulous. I would recommend it to any parent, any child who is independent and
right.
confident and doesn't have a problem making new friends and is
Hmm.
not attached to mom and dad's
Hmm.
apron strings.
Oh, I was so attached to my mom and dad. I mean, even after I started working, I took a job primarily because
To be
I got to
close.
stay from home. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, boarding school is not for those kids.
Anyways, but you had a ball, and then we did 10th grade, and then I lost touch with you. What happened to
Yes.
you after 10th grade?
Well, because I followed friends to an all girls college,
Okay.
and that was probably a mistake or not. But again, it very fits in with my, doing things that I want to do.
Yes.
And then after I finished college, and then of course university,
Hmm.
I I went into the airlines. I did a short stint actually at the
You
Taj
did?
Group. Yeah, at the
Oh,
Taj
wow.
Group in Central Reservations. And then I
Wow.
joined the airline, and I was
Hmm.
with the airline for probably about 7 years before I immigrated to Canada.
Really? Which airline were you in?
It's Swissair.
You were. So you were with Bunny?
Yes, I
Oh
was first
my
at the
gosh.
airport for a year, and then after
Uh-huh.
that, I went to a new department that they had opened up, which
Lovely.
was basically an office job,
Uh-huh.
but different because we were working on the airline systems. When you make a
Hmm.
reservation, there's a lot of cleanup to do
Hmm.
because the system was you could book it pre-sale without even actually paying for it at that moment. You paid
Hmm.
later, but it had to follow a certain format in order to be correct, so that the flight could, the flight could get ready when the time came.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's where we were. That was just one of the jobs, but
Right. Right.
yeah.
You sound like me. I did many jobs too, but enjoyed them all. So then after that, you came to Canada.
Then I came to Canada and started the job search, and
Yeah.
I did a stint with a mutual fund company
Okay.
before I got an entry level position with what was at that time a new product in the real estate market called title insurance.
Okay.
It had existed in the US, but
Hmm. Hmm.
because Canada's land title system was so different, it
Hmm.
hadn't. It didn't exist here until that time, and it was
Hmm.
very new to the market, and it was great because I really do enjoy working with startups, small companies,
Yes.
because I find the energy there is something you can really get a buzz off,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and then I can't remember now how many years with that first company before I moved on to a competitor.
Hmm.
And then after I finished with the competitor, I moved to a new one that had opened up, which would have been a competitor, and that brought me to Calgary, Alberta.
Okay. Okay.
And then that didn't last because it takes a while to get through all the red tape, government red tape, in order to get a license to do business, especially since
Right.
this is some kind of insurance.
Hmm.
And um, then came a big break, and I said, okay, after all these years in an office, maybe this is the universe telling me it's time to do something that you want to do.
Right.
And the thing that I wanted to do was something I've always loved doing from the time I was very young, which was cooking.
Ah,
And
awesome.
then through a friend, I heard of a job where the then executive chef was looking for an assistant. And
Hmm.
so I went for the interview, and I think we hit it off instantly, the chef and I got
How
along very well.
fabulous.
So then I had that job for about 5 years till COVID struck.
It was high paced, right? It must have been very high paced.
Very, very. I mean, getting a chance to experience it from the inside,
Right.
there's absolutely nothing glamorous about it. Not that I thought that there was,
Hmm.
but it's one thing to love to cook and to love to be creative
Hmm.
and do it for family and friends. It's quite another thing to do it on a commercial basis or
Yeah.
on a numbers basis,
Yep.
and it becomes very, very routine. You
Really.
have to
Okay.
really grab your moments of creativity because the
Mm.
rest of it really is grind. Not
Okay.
that we didn't have, uh, people who attended who were regular customers and came back and not only enjoyed the food, but enjoyed company and talking and stuff like that. But
Right.
for the most part, it kept us very separate
Hmm.
because, I mean, it was nonstop from the time you walked in to the time you left.
Hours,
So, yeah.
long hours.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you even when you had good conversations across the counter, you couldn't really carry on a very long, lengthy, in-depth
Hmm.
conversation because you either had a lineup, people waiting to be served, or you had to do something else, just clear up and clean up and start on the next sort of meal.
Right, right, right. But you got to, I'm sure you got to learn a lot. I mean, there's nothing like learning on the job, right?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I mean, just for as an example, like what a role a budget plays and how things
Mm.
are priced, and where do you buy vegetables and
Hmm.
produce at on that kind of bulk,
Hmm.
all the different vendors, and then what do
Hmm.
you do with waste? Because for me,
Hmm.
that was a big thing, you
Yes.
know. how
Yeah.
not to waste.
Yep.
And then, of course, discovering a commercial dishwasher, which is everybody's kind of nightmare when you're stuck in a room that's practically no windows and you've got this
Oh,
hot machine, and you're just
yeah.
pounding it out.
Oh,
So there were a lot, and then of course, walking into this massive freezer and massive
oh,
fridge,
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
and looking at how those kind of appliances work very similar, but on a much grander scale because
Right.
they're taking care of so much more.
Right. Right.
But
So
yeah.
you had to figure all that out. That's awesome. And then
Hmm.
5 years, right?
At least 5 years till we were told one day, okay, don't come back on Monday
Seriously, just
because
like that.
yes, well, actually, the
Wow.
whole office. So it was not just us; it was the whole office. Don't come back on Monday. Take all your, take what you need home. Don't
Yeah.
do any because we used to normally do our grocery shopping towards the end of the week. Don't
Hmm.
do anything till
Oh,
you hear
wow.
from us because of what's happening out there in the world.
And did they close? I mean, eventually?
I think eventually, since opening was so uncertain and
Yeah.
nobody knew when first of all, nobody knew when the lockdown was going to end. Nobody knew
Yeah.
when COVID was going to get under control.
Hmm.
They opted from a business point of view to close the bistro. It was a
Wow.
corporate bistro that I was working at,
Oh,
and
wow.
it was one of the perks that they were offering to their employees,
Yeah.
and nobody was in. So I mean, a perk
Yeah.
can't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
made sense. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. And
Yeah.
so then what did you do, like in a practical sense? So
Well,
you're
then I guess
home
like
on
everybody
Monday.
else, yeah. Home on Monday and was like, oh, okay, I've got, time to do X, Y, and Z. And I think one of the things that I experienced right through my 5 years working in that bistro was even though I slept like the dead at night,
Mm-hmm.
there was a physical exhaustion that never really goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're doing the same, you're getting up at the same time, doing all the same things with little differences. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say for the first 3 months, I actually enjoyed sleeping in. It started
Okay.
off working up at the same time, really early in
Mm-hmm.
the morning, but then gradually I managed to stay in bed till later. And then, once that was over, it was okay. Let's see, what do we need to do, and then just availing of all the free online stuff that came up,
Yes.
like cultural stuff and looking at different courses. I
Yes.
initially focused on the culinary world, on food courses, because
Right.
we were planning to come back at that time. We didn't know it was going to be, the end.
Yeah.
And so it was looking at, okay, what are we doing, creating menus in preparation, thinking of all the things that we could change, tweak to do better, thinking of how, if it was limited number of people in the office, how we could cater to that, yeah, how we could help people with this whole, don't go out too much, and
Mm-hmm.
in like providing, making extra, so if they wanted to buy it and take it home for meals and things like that. But
Okay.
you know we never opened, and then
Wow.
I just sort of, okay, refocus. This is another career pivot. And I
Right.
thought, I would like to go back to the office because it was clear then that the food industry was very, very unsure.
It was
Going back into
unstable.
it,
Mm-hmm.
unstable, unsure. Nobody knew when they would open up again. And
Yeah.
rightly so. I mean, we had openings and then no, pull it back and then switch to delivery and takeout only.
Yeah. It happened here too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, I think all along the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think it did give a lot of people in the food industry a chance to stop and think, like, do I want to work like a dog every day?
Mm-hmm.
If you pardon my
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
So,
Right. I think it changed
uh,
the way we all think about work.
yeah. And then I started the job hunt, which I anticipated was not going to be easy, simply because things hadn't really fully opened yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then it so happened that a friend uh, of mine, her husband was looking for somebody to assist him. He was an aide to a blind girl, and he
Mm-hmm.
was looking for somebody to assist on the food preparation side, which would also include teaching her how to cook. And I guess that's where my latest
Wow.
Uh, I wouldn't say employment, but my latest adventures.
Wow. All I can say is wow. So, like, how did you approach it? Like, what was your first day like with this?
Oh, so when he called me and asked me if I was interested, and he gave me some of the information, I think my immediate response was, I would love to do it
Mm-hmm.
because couldn't think of anything better that involved, where something I love to do, which was like cooking and food, was
Mm-hmm.
something I would be doing, but at the same time, I got to share it with somebody else.
Yes.
And then, of course, the rest of the email was all about, what is her kitchen like? I need to know what she has, what she doesn't have. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I need to do a kitchen assessment. Then
Mm-hmm.
I need to talk to her. I need to know if she has any medical issues, if she has any food sensitivities. So all of
Mm-hmm.
that can be kept in mind. And then,
Yes.
you know, uh, any food preferences, because that's the
Right.
biggest thing eventually. I mean, it doesn't matter how
Right.
fantastic your dish, if somebody doesn't like
Mm-hmm.
eating it, it's not going to be eaten.
Yeah.
And he said he gave me whatever answers he had, and he said, I guess when you meet her, you can, get the rest from her. And then that's how it started. So
Wow.
I think you could say that the start was very casual, and
Okay.
I didn't go into it with any sort of oh my god, this is profound or anything like that. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I'd love to do this.
But see, I think that's the basis of anybody's success is when you go in with the idea that you have a purpose to help someone
Hmm.
solve a problem. And you went in there with that
Yes.
whole, like you were excited because it was something you had expert knowledge in. And then
Yeah.
you were actually helping this friend out. To navigate his job with this lady, and
Yes.
amazing. So it had humble beginnings, but my gosh, what a noble cause, one. And, I mean, I think about this. So you've had to garner all your years of experience, and everything we learn does not go waste, right?
No.
So, for example, the tact of dealing with a sensitive, vulnerable adult, in a sense.
Yes, yes. Being very sensitive to that all the time. And fortunately for me, there were two things. Number one, she had absolutely no dislikes when it came to food. She loved
Superb.
food, period. She was open to absolutely everything. And so that's also another wonderful aspect, because then there's so much out there in terms of different types of cuisine and
Hmm.
different types of fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, which,
Hmm.
being a global village now, you have access to.
Hmm.
And so it was nice to introduce her to a lot of new flavors and new foods that she hadn't eaten before.
Hmm.
Nice to have to deal with somebody who said, "Oh, I like everything, so it's
Nice. Hmm.
I'm open to everything."
Hmm.
And secondly, it was as much of a learning experience for me as it was for her. I
Hmm.
feel I got as much, or probably even more,
Hmm.
because I was looking at something I love to do with fresh eyes.
Yes.
Even though
Hmm.
she couldn't see what I was seeing. And
Hmm.
so I had to do a lot of talking and sharing in that sense,
Yep.
and helping her to experience it in ways that she could.
Hmm.
And since she has been blind from birth,
Hmm.
fortunately, she doesn't have any hang up about her
Right.
blindness.
Hmm.
So, she would make little jokes when I would say something that you would say to somebody who could see,
Hmm.
like, something like, "Oh, pick up the white cover." And I was like, "No, I can't say that." I had to check myself. So there was a lot of that initially.
Hmm.
And then, of course, sometimes, when we made something, because I started in May. So when we got to summer's all about salads. And
Hmm.
we made a salad that was literally a rainbow of colors. And
Oh.
I said to her, "Oh my God, I wish you could see it." And she said, "Why?" And I said to her, "This is like, it's like an explosion of colors here."
Mm.
But it led to a very interesting conversation where I said to her, I said, "So," because I was curious, I said, "So, how do you, when somebody says the word something red, something, how do you see red in your mind's eye? Like,
Yes.
how do you experience red?"
Wow.
And she did share that, it's associated with a thing. So for her, red red is red for apple. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So she thinks of it
Okay.
in that way.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
but like when you make a cheese bake,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that gorgeous golden color.
Mm-hmm.
But for her, her experience was primarily olfactory,
Textures. Mm-hmm.
olfactory and texture.
Oh,
And
okay.
and she would say, "Oh my God, the house smells absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to eat this."
How
So,
lovely.
you know,
How lovely.
um, there was a lot for me to learn from somebody like that,
Oh my gosh. I
and
know.
she's a very cheerful character considering that she has a major hang up.
Right.
No, sorry, let me correct. Not a hang up, a
Right.
handicap.
A handicap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it hasn't really, in that sense, she's a very positive person.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends also who, are blind, and they have like really funny senses of humor,
Yes.
you know, where they make fun of themselves. It's
Yes.
hysterical. And you're like kind of like wanting to be sensitive, but they're the ones pulling the jokes on you. you
No, and I think this is where you learn to take your cues from
hmm
whoever you're interacting with, right?
hmm
And it didn't take long for me to realize I didn't have to walk on eggshells because she was so comfortable with being blind.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
great.
in her world, she has never seen, so
Yes.
she's for her, she's not really, she hasn't lost anything, but she's never seen anything.
Right. Right. And all their other senses are so heightened
Yes.
to make
Yes.
up, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because when we were cooking together, she would say, "What are you doing now? I can hear you doing something. What is that?" So for on her side, it was, I guess learning the new sounds that you
Yes.
associate with working in a kitchen or cooking with the kitchen. And she'd had some help. I from what she has shared, helping her mom when they've cooked together as a family and stuff like that. But it's quite different when she has to learn on her own. Like she has a knife that can
Mm-hmm.
cut soft fruits and vegetables, but
Okay.
I wouldn't give her a carrot to cut because that's really tough. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
I wouldn't expect her to like chop onions or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But so it was in the process of cooking and learning, figuring out what are the tools we could introduce that would really benefit her.
Right.
And so the first 3 months, it was all about learning her tastes because I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
fan of variety.
Yes.
Truly, when it comes to food, variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
And I introduced her to different flavors,
mm-hmm.
uh, so that I could get a sense of what she liked. And as it turned out, she liked everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was, okay, how do we build your pantry now? Because she pretty much had nothing.
Fantastic.
So,
Wow.
it's building a pantry, getting
Yeah.
the kind of, spice bottles that would make sense for her because measuring stuff
Right.
is tricky. I
Right.
mean, even for us who can see, measuring stuff sometimes
Yeah.
goes awry.
Right.
And even though she had braille on her measuring spoons,
Mm-hmm.
explaining what a heaped spoon versus a cut spoon and why
Right.
it's important to be exact, and all of that comes into play.
Yeah.
And one of her challenges is, of course, learning how to pour stuff
Mm-hmm.
because it's the weight of it, and then figuring out where is the center of this bowl so that even if I pour and it too much comes out, it doesn't splash over.
That's
So there were
incredible.
really, yeah, there were challenges that I really had to take a step back and look at again, like literally
Mm-hmm.
put myself in her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times, like, let me tell you, when I was trying to explain to her what to do, I would actually close my eyes and do it myself
Oh, fantastic.
just to get
Wow.
a feel of what would be the challenge here. How
Mm-hmm.
comfortable am I if I couldn't see,
Mm-hmm.
to understand, so I could change my words so that they made
Mm-hmm.
sense to her and help her with that. So as
Incredible.
I say, for me, the experience has been equally, if not more, enriching.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just I'm gobsmacked just
Yeah,
listening to this.
yeah.
Really, I mean, I
And
had a slight inkling, but not like this.
yeah, and for me, it's unfolded every day I visit her. There have been days
hmm
which I came over feeling absolutely frustrated.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely frustrated, and thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm not
hmm
just there to cook for her. I have to teach her, because
Yeah.
learning how to be independent was a very big thing for her. And this
Right.
is you, if you can't feed yourself, what do you do?
Yes.
As
Yeah.
we At least within a budget, right? I mean, the
Right.
obvious answer is you can, uh, buy food
Order.
from outside and have
Mm-hmm.
it delivered and stuff like that. But that's not what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yes, and then the other strategy I used was every time I felt that she cleared one little test, I would raise the bar and then take
Awesome.
her, so push her
Superb.
limits, push her out of her comfort zone so
Mm-hmm.
that uh, she becomes aware and she's attentive.
Mm-hmm.
Not that
Mm-hmm.
she falls back into the, oh, I just wait till Michelle tells me what to do, but
Right.
getting her to think, to take the initiative.
Yeah.
And so we gradually worked towards that, towards her deciding what she wanted to make for that week.
Okay,
And
so I was
then,
about to ask that. Like, so how did you raise the bar? Like, for example, you went from making something, like, what was the
so
level of
in the
difficulty?
first 3 to 4 months, I created the menu,
Mm-hmm.
and I would write out the grocery list,
Mm-hmm.
and I would also write out a prep list if I wanted her to do something. And
Mm-hmm.
that prep list was probably the beginnings of getting her to be more involved than she's ever been before.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the first 4 months, I said to her, okay, we're going to change this. You are going to write it out, so bring out your
Mm.
braille
Mm-hmm.
note touch, and start writing.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to create a recipe book of all the dishes that we'd already made.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to tweak those recipes to
Okay.
match what she could do. And if some of them were a little more intricate, I would have to simplify it so that
Okay.
based on two things: what she could do and what she had in her kitchen, in her pantry.
Right. Give us
You
an
know,
example of like a menu.
oh boy. So I did. So it was summertime when I started. Actually, end of spring, summertime when I started. And she used to eat a lot of. One of her favorite foods is Asian food. So she used to do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things like stir fries with rice, and sweet
Mm-hmm.
and sour with rice. And she had a small little rice cooker, which she
Perfect.
would use. So she knew how to make at least rice for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And initially I went with, what do you like to eat? What would you like to eat this week? And I just rotated different kinds of protein and different vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, so it was, stir fries and rice. And then I introduced some Indian flavors. And then I
Nice.
introduced the whole idea of a bowl, like a
Yep.
salad bowl, because it was
Mm-hmm.
a big, big time salad. And then we
Mm-hmm.
realized, okay, so this presents the first challenge. She preferred to have her food all portioned out and frozen, except for salads, of
Mm.
course, and then
Mm-hmm.
simply take it out of the freezer and warm it up for herself.
Right.
No, I have a big bowl of this and I serve myself,
Mm-hmm.
in my plate. So
Okay.
we had to change recipes to fit that.
Okay.
So when it came to salads, it's like, yes, we can make the salad, but now if we are filling the containers ahead of time, your wet ingredients at the bottom and your dry
Right.
ingredients like your leaves on the top, so that they don't get soggy. And then
Right.
most definitely your dressing in a completely separate container. So
Right.
then it was identifying, okay, we need to go and get out these really small containers, because salad dressings don't have to be a cup. you
Right.
know they
Right.
need less is more, that sort of thing. Because
Right.
I was also watching what she was eating, because it was feeding her healthy food, right?
Right.
And things like that, things
Yep.
like,
Awesome.
um, she can't, when I make a chicken, I usually slice it up for her. It's never left whole, because
Okay.
she's not using a fork and knife when she's actually eating her meal.
Right. Right.
So it's just everything you take for granted, you have to
Mm-hmm.
look at, again and
Incredible.
again, to see
Incredible.
how comfortable it would be for them,
Yeah. Yeah.
without being too much of a too boring, let's
Too.
say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right.
so when we did enchiladas too, we made
Mm.
our own homemade enchilada sauce. And then, of
Superb.
course, it has to be done in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
because we're making bulk, we're not making and eating right away. And
Right.
then realizing, as great as this is, she will never be able to do this because
Right.
she can't. A stove and a stovetop and an oven is a challenging for her.
Very, of course. Yeah.
And so then thinking, so with all the recipes that we had, thinking, and then so then to go back to what you asked, so once we got familiar with all that, then it was okay, now you need to take over. You need to look at the recipe book and tell me what you want to make.
Okay.
Then you need to read the recipe on your own and tell me what you have. What do
Okay.
we need to buy? So
Excellent.
we created a couple of lists. Like, she had a pantry list, which I get her to keep updated. She has a fridge and freezer list,
Mm-hmm.
so she knows what she has, so that
Mm-hmm.
when she's doing these documents, she can refer to that and then say, oh, I'm missing this, so I have to
Right.
get this.
Right.
And
Right.
then moving on to prep lists, like, okay, if you're doing quinoa, you need to soak it overnight. If you're doing lentils, I want you to soak it overnight. Things like
Yeah.
that. You
Right.
need to take the chicken out of the fridge and thaw it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to
Mm-hmm.
take the shrimp out of the fridge and thaw it, and then check to see if you need
Mm-hmm.
to clean it, and
Yeah.
just like everyday things. But
Right. Right.
that was also part of what she needed to learn. And
That's
then
a
we went, yeah,
and
and then we went from there to
mm-hmm.
teaching her how to grocery budget.
Superb.
Yeah.
Superb. Wow. So, do
So
you still work with her
yes,
currently?
I
You
still
do.
work with her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently, when I met you in DC,
Yeah.
since I was away for 2 weeks, we had to change the approach so that she wouldn't be left without food while I was away.
Oh,
So what we did
okay.
is we planned the menu, and then we did all the prep, all the prep, and we
Mm-hmm.
froze all the prep, everything that could be frozen,
Okay.
so that when I was away, she could simply take it out of the fridge and put it together. And put it together being, I had already introduced a slow cooker, a crock pot into her cooking
Okay.
sessions. So all
Mm-hmm.
she had to do was layer it the way I instructed, and
Yeah.
basically put the cover on, turn it on, and away she goes. Put a
Great.
timer. When the timer's goes off,
Yeah.
turn off the crock pot, allow it to cool so that it was comfortable for her to handle, and
Yeah.
then the challenge of portioning it out for herself. But she
Right.
loved it. She
She
absolutely
did.
loved it. Yeah. So
Crockpot cooking is so nice. Yeah.
yeah, and she said, "Oh my God, I enjoyed it so much. I actually feel now for the first time, like I'm ready to take off the training wheels." And
Superb.
that was absolutely wonderful to hear, because
Yeah,
I mean, after
absolutely.
all this time, yes, progress, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, totally. I
progress.
love it. I love it. So, how
So
many times
that's
a
where we're
week do you
at.
go?
So I used to go to her 3 times a week. I probably
Mhm.
will still go to her 3 times a week, because
Okay.
we are not only prepping for when she can cook on her own,
Hmm.
but we're now almost rewriting her recipe book, so
Okay.
that everything is rewritten for the way she is going to cook now, where
Right.
she can do it either with somebody, but mostly she can do it by herself.
How do you feel about her getting more independent? Like the
Fantastic. It was
okay.
very sweet when she said to me, Michelle, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to take away hours from you. And I said, no, not at all. This is
Hmm.
what anybody who's teaching would love to see, right? This is
Absolutely.
major progress.
Hmm.
And I said, it was never that I was going to be with you forever and ever. Amen.
Hmm.
At
Hmm.
some point, you have to be doing it yourself. And here we are. And if
Amazing.
you feel good about it and you're excited about it, I couldn't ask for more.
Would you take on another client like her?
Absolutely, because I think the what makes this experience also so special is everybody's an individual.
Hmm.
Everybody brings something different to the table.
Yes.
I may be the same factor if I go on to teach somebody else, but it's again looking at a completely new person, looking at them all over again. It's a whole new adventure.
Right, absolutely. I think occupational therapists can take a few pages of your book,
And as,
honestly.
as I'm sure I could learn for them too, because trying to, because it's about people skills, about being
Yeah,
able to read people,
yeah.
and despite the fact that she's blind, she has a very expressive face.
Oh,
So
oh, I'm
you
sure.
know, it was so many new and rich experiences for me.
What a lovely
you know?
learning experience. Yeah, for
Yeah,
both. I mean,
absolutely.
lovely. So let me just say this to wrap up. So if
Hmm.
someone were to contact you, how would you like them to contact you?
Right now, I don't really have anything set up, but I
Okay.
can be found on Instagram.
Okay.
So I guess looking for me on Instagram and sending me a direct message through that would
Hmm.
work perfectly until I set up something where I have a more of a social sort of presence.
Okay. Can you tell us what your Instagram handle is?
Yes, it's Michelle P. Brendish.
Okay. Do you blog about this? I'm going to follow you
No, I
myself.
haven't. I haven't.
Oh,
I haven't. I've been considering it,
oh,
and
totally.
yeah, it's in my mind. And I think what I first need to do is do a little recap of the entire experience.
Hmm.
So I have a sort of, I have the storyline, and then I
Yeah.
can start blogging about, like the first day and stuff like that. And then, of course, my idea, if I did blog about this, was to keep it really short and sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to run into pages, but
Hmm.
I'm considering it. And I think the middle of May actually will make 1 year since I've been with her. It's a
Wow.
good, it's a good anniversary,
It's a yes,
an
yes.
anniversary milestone. I mean,
Yeah.
an anniversary, celebration to do.
Right.
Looking back on how we were when we started, the
Right.
way we were.
I know. Is she open to social media? Would she be open to you putting it on Instagram, like your little sessions?
I think if I talked about it without actually mentioning any names,
Yeah.
because that would be the right thing to do.
Yes.
Uh, you know, I mean,
Yes.
if she read it, and let's say anybody that she has shared the experience with read it, they might not recognize it, or they may
Hmm.
simply recognize it by looking at my name, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
knowing
But
who it is. But
because I think it's. Hmm.
I don't think I would use any names and
Okay.
anything, because outside of the specific name, I'm talking about somebody,
Yes, yes. No, I
without
was
actually
just
putting a.
thinking it's so inspiring, right? It would be so inspiring for people to actually see you in action, like on Instagram, if you did a little short video, like of you
Hmm.
showing her like a technique or how. I mean,
Ah, yes, yes.
for
I see
those
what
who
you mean.
have, yeah, for those who have family members or friends who
Yeah,
are, challenged in this way, I
yeah.
mean, for you to see, for them to see the process. For me, just listening to it is so inspiring, but imagine seeing it, and there again, it is something that would be really encouraging to for people who do work as aides or who family members again.
I have never thought about it that way, but you definitely have a point there. I would have to give it some thought to figure out
Mm,
how I would have how I could record it,
hmm.
because stopping to record is what would be very disruptive in what we're
Yeah,
trying to do.
this is true.
It
This
would
is true.
it would have to be a camera set up and running in the background, and then
Yeah.
a lot of editing.
Editing. Hmm.
So and then, of course, before all that, I would have to ask her, would you be open to it? As long
Yes.
as your face is not shown and
Hmm.
all we're showing is, let's say, the table and the cutting board and,
Hmm.
hands at work kind of thing.
Amazing.
So, yeah,
Lots of
I
potential.
think I'll have to ask her about that when I start to put this together.
Wonderful. And I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm going to definitely follow up on you to see your progress a year from now, if not earlier. But
Oh, wonderful.
thank you so much for talking with me on
Thank
this.
you,
I
Nicole, for having me
really,
on.
really, I mean, you often wonder where certain friends from school went and what they did. And
Yeah.
I just, I don't think it's an accident that we met here in Baltimore, 20 years ago, and then again 3 weeks ago,
No, I know.
nothing's an
No.
accident. Yeah.
And
So,
that was also special, right? That we could meet up
so
after so many
special.
years and,
Yeah.
just simply pick up where we last
Ab-
left off. I really love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you're welcome to come visit me anytime the next time you
I
visit
will
your family.
definitely do that the next time I'm in town. And I
Okay.
actually am going to leave you with one question.
Yes.
Now, who has interviewed you so you can share your story? That needs to be done. That needs to be captured as well, I think.
I know. So I'm actually writing, I write a blog. And
Yes.
so my blog has bits and pieces of my story and the
Mm-hmm.
lessons I've learned along the way. But I
Mm-hmm.
started writing my book for my daughter about 2 years ago.
Oh.
It's not happened. I mean, so I did participate in another podcast with a friend
Mm-hmm.
of mine. It's called Derailed Conversations because all our conversations used to get derailed. He's a
Yes.
crazy artist friend of mine, and the little pieces of my story have come out there, but
Yeah.
nobody has really interviewed me. I mean, I've not even thought about it. I just love hearing people's stories.
Stories, correct.
Yeah, but yeah,
But
maybe
but
one
it's
day.
some. Yeah, I think so. I think it would be an excellent episode on your own platform, Thinkology.
Yeah,
To share
yeah,
the founder's story. This
yeah.
is where it all began. This is where she did it her way. So
I yeah.
that would be very inspiring to everybody.
Okay, I'll probably send you a list. You send me a list of questions, then I'll let you interview me.
Oh, I'm game. Absolutely
I knew
game.
you would be. It's something to think about. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
I'll take you up on that. I'll take you
Okay.
up on that.
Okay.
Well, nice chatting with you, Michelle.
You too,
Really.
Nicole. Thank you
So
so
once
much.
again, follow Michelle on Instagram to see what more of what she's doing, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks,
Ciao.
Nicole. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. You have been listening to Thinkologies They Did It Their Way with Nicole Herbert Dean. That's me. Thinkology is a brand of books that we create and publish for businesses as well as educators, fitness instructors, etc. If you have your stuff in a binder, call us. We can make a brand book for you. Also, if you know of any interesting stories, people who have led interesting lives, contact us to be featured on this podcast. So follow us on Instagram at Thinkology, TikTok and Twitter at Thinkology, and on Facebook at Thinkology Media. Subscribe and listen to us.